What's up, ladies and gents? This is KSigKid coming at you with another Destiny video. If you want the absolute best god tier primary weapon in the game for the Crucible right now, unfortunately you have to be on a Warlock. It is the exotic scout rifle, the Tlaloc, and it is Warlock exclusive. So I'm sorry, Hunters, and I'm sorry, Titans. This video really won't apply to you, but this weapon is so freaking beastly. I'm actually using it in Mayhem Iron Banner right now, and I managed to get all of my scout rifle kills in about 6 games. Insane. Starting off our intrinsic perk, we've got Grenadier, which is just solid overall. All of the clips you see are going to be with me using smooth ballistics. We don't use any of the other barrels, but we will show the recoil patterns. I don't believe there's any benefit to using accurized ballistics and getting that sliver of extra impact. Eye of the Storm, it does proc, you can see it on screen. In the middle column, I'm using Injection Mold for increased stability and better handling. And then Overflow, oh baby, we're going to talk about that. As far as just firing off to see what our recoil pattern is, again, this is smooth ballistics. This is pretty much the barrel and the sights that I was using the entire time. It does pull off to the right. All of the Tlaloc shots pull off to the right. That one was pretty well grouped though. Now whenever we move over to accurized ballistics and we go and fire off at the wall, you'll see that there's just a little bit of a difference here. So as this thing goes off to the right, it has a lot more vertical kick to it. So that is definitely higher and a lot more vertical kick. And like I said, that sliver of impact really isn't going to impact your time to kill on enemy guardians. Finally, we've got soft ballistics, which gives us a nice boost to stability. But as we see, we still pull off to the side, and this particular barrel in sight, it ends up hurting your range just a little bit. So I figure smooth ballistics is the way to go. Just go for the starter. Now let's talk about Overflow. So before this gun gets firing off, it fires at the same rate of speed as your Vision of Confluence, and it has the same time to kill. So that means 2 headshots and 2 body shots is your fastest time to kill with this weapon. Unfortunately, at that speed, the Vision of Confluence speed, that is a whopping time to kill, fastest time to kill of 1 second. That is extremely slow for a fastest time to kill. Extremely slow. But there is a benefit to it. So despite it being 1 second, I said it was 2 headshots and 2 body shots. That's actually quite forgiving. Think about our auto rifles that need pretty much 90% headshots in order to get a kill. One of the reasons why hand cannons, the 81 impact class of hand cannons, are so good is because they only take 1 critical hit in 2 body shots to get a kill. So even if you need to take a little bit more time, like a fraction of a second more time to get your kill with this rate of fire for a scout rifle, it's still pretty forgiving, and that's pretty nice. But when you have your super up and Overflow's active, this weapon completely changes. It fires off faster than the Might of Multi-Tool, and it still hits like the Vision of Confluence. It is ridiculous. 61 critical hit shots, 41 body shots. If you're getting your fastest time to kill, again, 2 shots to the head, 2 shots to the body, it now goes from 1 second down to 0.8 seconds. And what this also means is, by just a little bit of funky math, it also means that 5 body shots will kill in 1 second whenever you've got Overflow up. So now you can body shot an enemy to death as fast as you could previously do your fastest time to kill. This weapon is ridiculous. I can't even stress that enough. It is so good. It's so good with the way that the Crucible is right now, because we all know primary weapons really didn't get a buff. And we also know that scout rifles never really get a buff or a nerf. They're just kind of left the same. And that's one of the reasons why the Might of Multi-Tool kind of has lasted for these last 2 years or so in the Crucible. You didn't see Mida a whole lot in year 1. But whenever things started getting nerfed, Mida started rising to the top because it was just a solid overall well-rounded weapon. It didn't do anything crazy or insane, it was just solid overall. Well, now that things have gotten nerfed even more, Tlaloc, which definitely is better than the Mida whenever you've got your super up, can absolutely destroy people. Just absolutely destroy people. And it really doesn't matter where they are. If they're coming in rushing, just kind of zoom out, don't be zoomed in, and body shot your way to victory. It fires so fast as you can pull the trigger, faster than you can pull the trigger. It's really good. I had so much fun with it, and I know people who have been using this gun for a long time are saying 2 things. 1. KSigKid, you are so late to the party, you noob. And that is probably true. That is probably true. I tried to use this gun a little bit during different avenues of the game, but I feel like it's far at its strongest that it's ever been as far as Destiny Crucible goes. I don't think it has ever been stronger in the Crucible than it is right now. And the second thing people are probably saying and thinking is, KSigKid, why are you telling people this? Why are you telling people this? You're gonna get the gun nerfed. You're crazy. You suck. Why are you doing this? This is my favorite weapon in the game. And to those people, I would just like to say, please calm down. Calm down. I promise you, Bungie does not know enough about my channel to be watching my videos every day and scoured and be like, this guy knows it. This guy found the secret. Now we've got to nerf the Tlaloc. Like I said, scout rifles have been around in Destiny from the very beginning, and it is pretty much unheard of for those suckers to get nerfed. They really just don't touch scout rifles, because honestly, scout rifles probably are one of the most balanced weapon class in the game. Now, you don't see them all that often because Destiny, the Crucible maps that we have, are far more close range than they are far range. So because of that, and because scout rifles are meant to deal with enemies at a range, you just don't see them as much as you might see some other weapons like our hand cannons or your auto rifles, which people really enjoy, or pulse rifles. People typically kind of gravitate towards pulse rifles over scout rifles to deal with people on long range maps. But if you want to use a scout rifle and you've got a Warlock, this is a really good option. So what are the drawbacks? What are the reasons why you didn't really utilize this weapon before? Well, number one would be, in order to get Overflow up, you have to have your super full. So that is the big trade-off. And I was actually really curious about using this weapon in the Iron Banner Mayhem that's going on right now. I was really curious, because I wanted to first finish up all of my auto rifle bounties, but then whenever I started to need to get 50 scout rifle kills, I was like, okay, let's start off on the Warlock. Is not being able to use my super in Iron Banner Mayhem going to be that big of a detriment to me? And I found that it really wasn't. In fact, I believe it shines even better in Mayhem. Yes, in Mayhem, people are using their supers all the time, and it feels like you should use your supers all the time. And if you're in a situation where you really could utilize your super, by all means use it. And because you're in Mayhem, you get your super back so fast. So for that reason, because your super comes back so fast, I feel it's actually even better in Mayhem than it is in normal Crucible. Because in normal Crucible, it's going to take you quite a while to build up your super. And if you're like me, in the clips that are not Mayhem that I was doing, whenever I had my super up, I would not cast it until the end of the match. Even if I was in a situation where, yes, using my super would have saved me and killed an enemy or killed a couple enemies, I didn't want to waste it because I knew if I used my super, it was going to take another third of the match in order to get it all the way back up. So in normal Crucible, that is your detriment. Especially if you're really not good or comfortable with the Vision of Confluence style as far as the time to kill. Again, 1 second. But if you can stay at the back of the map and you can utilize your 2 body shot, 2 headshot, even with the Vision of Confluence, then I think you'll feel pretty much fine using the Tlaloc in the beginning. You won't feel like you're carrying around an anchor or something that's just a struggle bus to use and kill enemies with. You'll feel just fine. Now, what a lot of people say is, if they want to utilize the Tlaloc, what they do is, before the match, before they have their super in the match, they use a different weapon. And whenever they get their super up, they swap over to the Tlaloc. That's fine. If that's the way you want to do it, by all means go ahead. For me, I like to pretty much use the same weapon through an entire match. I find that if I'm using an auto rifle, it takes a different skill set and a different movement ability than using a scout rifle. So with my auto rifles, you've got to push in further. You've got to get closer if you want to get the best time to kills and be in the right kill range. So if you can just swap your brain back and forth to using different weapons, then by all means, feel free to do that. For me, I'm going to put this on for the entire time. Now here's another sneaky little trick for those of you who have stayed around the video for this long. So I haven't fully tested it, but from the looks of it, if you've got your super up and you get suppressed, so it doesn't look like I have a full super now, but I am still firing off the Tlaloc at the exact same high rate of fire speed. So that's kind of a sneaky little thing, and it's definitely something that I am going to want to test further in private matches. We've got another little video series that I want to do as far as testing some things out in Destiny, Destiny Myths. If people happen to have other things like that, by all means let me know in the comment section below and we can test some things out. I've got a few things in mind. This is probably going to be one of them to confirm it. But as far as my rough testing, my rough look at the videos right there, it feels like Tlaloc still fires off with Overflow active even whenever you're suppressed. So that's pretty solid, and that's pretty amazing for the gun. So if you get suppressed or possibly tethered whenever you can't use any of your abilities, Overflow should still be active. Again, we need to test it, but as far as looking at my clips and just seeing the rate of fire of the gun as I'm pulling off the trigger, it looks like it's definitely working for suppression. Overflow is definitely active for suppression. So if you're on a Warlock and you've got the Tlaloc, you're like, yes, that's amazing. If you're on a Hunter or a Titan, you're like, that sucks, that's OP, that's broken, that's terrible, they should definitely nerf and fix that. Whichever side of the aisle you're on, you are probably right and entitled to your opinion. My opinion overall is, I love this gun. I love this gun. And I want to know, how many of you have been using this gun since it came out? Since you were able to pick it up from Banshee, since the Taken King came out and we were able to get our class-specific exotic weapons, our class-specific legendary weapons, how many of you have actually been using this gun? Because I don't see it all that often. I really don't see it all that often. And I think everybody in the back of their mind knows that whenever Overflow's up, this thing is ridiculously good and ridiculously powerful. But despite people knowing that, and people know it, despite people knowing that, I still don't see it that often. Why aren't you using this gun? Are you not using it because whenever you're not with your super, it fires off just a little bit too slow for you? Are you not using it because you simply don't like scout rifles? Are you not using it because you like to get up close and personal? I want to know what your reasons are for not using this gun. Because like I said, even in the Iron Banner, I feel like in all of my matches, I was the only person that was still using this gun. And yes, we had a lot of Golden Gun Hunters, and we had a lot of Slams, but we also had a whole lot of Warlocks. There were a lot of Stormcrawlers and Voidwalkers. I didn't see Tlaloc on them. I definitely didn't see Tlaloc on them. But I'm going to be using it every single time the Crucible Quartermaster comes out and he wants scout rifle kills. We're moving over to the Warlock, we're putting on the Tlaloc, and we are going in. Yes, it's going to be a little bit trickier when Mayhem isn't up to make sure I get my super up, but when it is, oh man, we're going to be shooting some guys in the face with the Tlaloc, and it is going to be a really, really good time. Anyway, guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out these awesome videos. Good luck with your raids, your drops, your Tlaloc, and I'll see you around in Destiny. Hashtag Tlaloc best luck.